I was finally able to get them kids to sleep. I have the house to myself. It's quiet for right now. So what better to do than to make a video? Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for tuning in to my channel today. I am the Art King. What we're going to be talking about today is the importance of a weapon light, okay? Now, usually what I like to do is I like to categorize a weapon into two different parts, okay? Um, is it used for recreational purposes or is it used for self-defense? Now, as far as recreational shooting goes, you can have like backyard gun ranges, the actual gun range. You have these training classes, running drills, everything like that. You can customize and build them. Um, you know, do whatever you want to as far as a firearm goes. All right, but then you have the self-defense aspect of it, where you have to make upgrades in order for that weapon to be more conducive and efficient and reliable for you. Okay, everybody is going to have their own different setup as far as a pistol goes, rifles, shotguns. It's a whole plethora of different things that you can do as far as customizing it for you. Okay. So that weapon light is one of the main things that everybody has to have, okay? And I mean, absolutely no questions asked. It's just as important as a sling for a rifle. I think it's one of the main things that could be the difference maker between life and death, jail and freedom, okay? So, of course, I'm going to pull out my trusty Glock 17. This is a weapon that I've had for, I want to say about 6 or 7 years now, okay? So this is my Glock 17 Gen 4. Of course, you guys already know that I like to do a safety check anytime that I'm dealing with firearms. All right. All right. So that weapon is clear, no magazine. Actually, it is a magazine, but it's back there on that table. But we're not going to worry about that right now because it's not here present. All right. But anyway, so when you're looking at self-defense shooting, okay, normally it has to deal with life and death. So you're looking at military, law enforcement, you're looking at home defense, self-defense. It could be an EDC gun, it could be open carry, concealed carry, whatever the case may be. But one of my biggest suggestions to all people who buy a firearm for self-defense is to start making immediate upgrades, okay? And if you can't make it right then and there, then definitely try to jump on those things as soon as possible, okay? So I'm going to use my gun for an example. I'm going to use my EDC for example. One of the very first things that I started doing to mine is I started to change the front and rear sight, okay? Or the front and rear sight. But anybody who's been in the firearms for a while, they know that Glock usually comes with the plastic U-dot sights, okay? They do really well as far as accuracy goes. They do really well as far as getting those consistent groupings, those shots. It's not hard to get your sights on target. I have no complaints as far as being accurate, okay? The only thing that I really don't like about those sights is the fact that they are easily, they can be easily broken, all right? I've seen probably 6 or 7 Glocks in my lifetime where the rear sight is broken off, more so than the front sight. For some reason, I just never knew why that seemed to be the case. Every time I saw one of the sights broken, it was mainly the rear sight. Okay, but I went ahead and got some True Glow night sights. These are the True Glow H3, and I like these because these have a sort of like a angled edge right here. That's one of the first things that I upgraded. Then I changed out the trigger connector. All right, it went from a 5.5 trigger pull to a 3.5. So that was the next thing that I decided to change. Then I got a flared magwell from Magpul, and that was about a $20 add-on. And then last but not least, I said, well, why am I stalling around? Let me go ahead and get a weapon light for my EDC. Now, Each one of these things has a uniqueness about them, right? They help out there in their own way. But I think the most important thing on this weapon is the light. Okay, I would definitely put this in second place next to the steel night sights. It's really important because you have to identify your threat. You have to be able to identify your target. Okay. Not only that, it really helps in a low light situation. Majority of the crimes or majority of the things that go down, they happen at night. Okay, majority of the break-ins happen at night. There's a lot of crime that happens at night. Obviously it's because you really can't see that well outside. So people use the dark as their friend, right? Like Bane said in Batman, so you adopted the dark. Darkness is your ally. But a weapon like definitely alleviates a lot of those hesitations, a lot of those fears, a lot of those mistakes that you could potentially make as a responsible gun owner. Okay, even as a gun owner who is trying to make the right decision and you have the right to defend your life, one simple slip up could be the difference between jail and freedom. So this does all of that. Okay, this really helps out a great deal, especially when it comes to being able to see. Okay, that is one of the main things. It's a simple. Most people take it for granted. It's a simple sense, but it makes all the difference in the world. Okay, and being able to see with a weapon is like really imperative because as a father and as a husband. My job is to protect and provide, right? My job is to protect my family. Now, if I'm going out there just guns blazing, just blasting at everything that makes a noise, that's not sound decision making. Okay, that's not smart. That's not something that would sit well with me. I need to be able to see what I'm shooting at or see what I'm trying to eliminate as far as a threat goes. So, I'm not here to, brag or boast about Streamlight. They actually make really good weapon lights. I've had no complaints about mine. I really love mine to death. No issues, no failures, no malfunctions. Every time I hit that button, it works. Okay. I've seen guys torture test them. Of course, I don't like doing that to my weapons. It's I believe you if you tear your weapon. I believe you. That mine will work. All right. And plus, it's Glock. I had no problems or issues with it, so it works flawlessly. Works like a sewing machine, even in the most harsh conditions. And Streamlight is like the Glock of lights to me. Okay, I know you have more expensive models. You have tougher models and everything like that. But from my experience, Streamlight does a really good job as far as being able to withstand a lot of punishment and a lot of heat, right? A lot of crap hits the fan type situation. I don't know why I couldn't get that word out of my mouth. But so let's talk about the use of a weapon light. So I would highly suggest getting a light that has a momentary setting on it, right? So once you mash it down and let up off of it, then it'll turn off at the same time. I would also suggest having an on setting. So once you switch that to that setting, then you're able to keep that light on if the situation arises. Strobe is not really a big concern of mine. The only reason why I got this particular make and model is because it had 1,000 lumens to it. Again, the strobe wasn't really a big concern. I don't really see myself using that. I really don't see myself using the on setting, just a momentary setting, right? So that was something that was really beneficial for me in my situation. Okay. A weapon light is one thing that you shouldn't cheap out on. I know that a lot of people like to get off-brand attachments, and in some cases that does do pretty well. But for the cost of it, I think I paid maybe $125 for it. And they do have another edition of this. I think they have the 300 lumen version of it. It does have the on setting and the momentary setting, but it doesn't have the strobe. Okay, but this thing, I mean, for $120, it does a really phenomenal job putting light on a situation. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about in a few minutes since I'm in my kitchen. I'm going to turn off my stove light, and I'm going to turn off my ring light real quick and give you guys an idea as to why a weapon light is so important. Okay. Now, as I've said before, this weapon is clear, and we're going to go ahead and check it again, right? Just to give us a peace of mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off these two lights real quick, and I'm going to show you the importance of a weapon light. So let's say that we're looking at this jacket right here. Okay, I'm coming through the kitchen. You know, I heard a bump in the night. I hear a bunch of stuff going on in the kitchen, right? I'm not sure if it's my kids. I don't know if it's a threat. I don't know if it's a home intruder or whatever the case may be, but I'll need to identify that person or possible threat before I decide to pull the trigger, okay? So let's say that I come into the, say I come into the house, right? Or I come into the kitchen. Let me see, right? So it's a pretty low light situation right here. And of course the jacket is gonna be over there. And as soon as I see what I think is a potential threat, all I have to do is flick that light and identify whether it's a friend or a foe or not, okay? So I think that, you know, that does a great deal of service for, you know, men who are protectors, you know, single ladies, whatever the case may be, women, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives. It's a great game changer, okay? And I know a lot of people have the hang-ups about all these extra attachments. Oh, it makes the gun too heavy. Oh, it's too expensive. You know, oh, I don't like this brand. I don't really care for this type of thing on my weapon. I just want to be able to point and shoot, right? And that's not a great mindset to have. You need to be able to adapt, and you need to be able to take on any challenge that could possibly enter the situation, right? You know, they take all they have all of these gun classes, and they have all of these drills that you run, these training groups and everything like that, but they can't prepare you for every single situation. But having the right equipment definitely gives you the upper hand in a lot of situations. So you're not lacking behind, or you're lagging behind, right? So you want to be able to stay ahead of the game, right? You don't want to make it a fair, level playing field when it comes to a life and death situation, which is why, you know, I decided to add on the steel night sights. I decided to add on the weapon light, a lighter trigger, a flared mag wheel, right? These are the things that make a really big difference. So, you know, again, with my weapon light, if I were to come in this room, and I'm gonna leave the light on for this segment, if I were to come in a room and I really didn't know what was in that corner, even if it's pitch black and I need to identify what's in that corner, or clear that part of the house, then I can just point, flick that light on, and then bring it back to my workspace, okay? Same thing with houses, apartments. You're always gonna have that one part in the house or the apartment, or any living space, business, whatever the case may be. It's gonna have a lot less lighting than any other section of that house or that residence, okay? So one of these can make a big difference, okay? I promise you. And make sure that you do reviews on it. If you like Olight, Streamlight, trying to think of that other company but anyway, they also make really good weapon lights. You know, make sure that you review them. Make sure that you ask around about them. Find something that's conducive for you. Find something that really makes you comfortable, okay? And since I have a little bit longer fingers, it actually works out perfectly well. So I like to have the grip on my weapon just a little bit. My non-dominant hand, I love to have it canted forward just a little bit further than most people. Some will have it way back here, but the way that I like to hold my pistol, it lines straight up, okay? So if you see my thumb, all I have to do is come straight down, right? Hit that weapon light, on, off, and then I can flick it up if I need to hold it on just to identify what's going on, all right? But again, it's a perfect build for me. Again, every single manufacturer is going to have a different build. They're going to have a different design. So make sure that you find something that works for you, okay? So again, the weapon light is really, 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 really important, okay? I can't stress enough how important it is. Make sure you do your research, train with it. That's one of the main things that a lot of people neglect to do. They get all these different attachments and they don't know anything about them. They don't know how to use them in a high stress situation. They don't know how to utilize them or make them work in their advantage, right? Make them work in their favor, right? So train with them, right? Don't just grab stuff, you know, think that your gun looks just absolutely cool and you don't know how to use anything on the thing, all right? You know, I see guys with all these all these red dots and lights and suppressor height sights and everything like that. It's almost a $1,500 gun, including all these attachments, but they're not efficient with it, right? Train, okay, train. Even if you do what I had to do, even if you don't have the money at the time, you know, you had to watch YouTube videos and you had to train at the house, that's perfectly fine. Find an empty room, make sure you have a clear gun, right? And train, right? All of these things will help benefit you in the end, okay? That weapon light is one of those things that can benefit you. I cannot stress that enough. Give you one more example and then I'm gonna go. I want to say about 2 months ago, no, three or 4 months ago, it was sometime during the summer. I think it was like summer transition and then in the fall. I kept hearing something near my window in my bedroom, right? And I was home alone. I had my girls, and you know, as foolish as this may seem, I had to go outside and check it out, right? I didn't know if it was somebody trying to break in the house or whatever the case may be. I took my pistol outside, had the same weapon light, and went to the window, and it was actually just it was like a really, really big moth that just kept slapping up against the window. And that was the thing that made me a little nervous because, again, I didn't know what it was. Right now, imagine if I didn't have this weapon light on me, have other lights, of course, in the house, like flashlights. All those things make a very big difference. But again, you know, holding a flashlight in one hand and a firearm in the other, that could be a little more challenging than most people make it out to be. Okay, you see that stuff in movies and cops do it all the time. But, you know, I'm not a cop. This is what I want to work with, okay? So get that weapon light. It's non-negotiable. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I always appreciate you guys for tuning into my channel. You have no idea how much that means to me, all the love and the support. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. If you have any questions or concerns, please, please, please feel free to add them in the comment section. If you have any education or any knowledge to transfer from yourself to me, I'm more than welcome to accept it. You know, more than welcome to add it in. You know, school me on things, right? I'm still learning a great deal about certain things, but you know, I'm always open to different knowledge. I'm always open to different opinions. You guys might teach me something. I might teach you something. All right. So with that, stay strapped, stay dangerous, and God bless.